on this edition of the Self-Publishing Show.
Starting out from a small country and being a woman founder, there are a lot of challenges what you have to tackle, but our team is awesome, and I'm really happy that we actually could grow our team, not just in numbers, but geographically as well.
Publishing is changing. No more gatekeepers, no more barriers, no one standing between you and your readers. Do you want to make a living from your writing? Join indie bestseller Mark Dawson and first-time author James Blatch as they shine a light on the secrets of self-publishing success. This is the Self-Publishing Show. There's never been a better time to be a writer.
Yes, hello and welcome to the Self-Publishing Show with me, James Blatch.
And me, Mark Dawson.
Such a double act, aren't we? I went to see Stan and Ollie.
I knew you were going to mention that.
Have you seen it?
I haven't. Is it good?
It actually really is good. And it's a little bit short on storytelling because it's a fairly short period of their lives. It's like the autumn and winter of their lives. But the acting is unbelievable. I mean, Steve Coogan, who's, I have to say, is a man who doesn't... We love his comedy routine. There's a famous British comedy character called Alan Partridge, who we all adore, who he plays. But he does not come across as a nice man, Steve Coogan. I have to say, every time you see him interviewed, he's kind of aggressive and angry. And a sort of part of me doesn't want to like him, but he is outstanding in Stan and Ollie. And I've watched quite a lot of black and white Laurel and Hardy films since, and he's just brings Stan Laurel to life. It's amazing.
Problem with him is I like him too. Obviously, I love Partridge, but whenever I see him do something else, it's Alan Partridge playing somebody else. That's the problem. He's so intertwined with that character. I can't quite disassociate him from Partridge. So I'll have to go and see it.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, and I think when you do see Stan and Ollie, there'll be no hint of Partridge anywhere. It's beautiful, and then when you watch the inflections on his face afterwards. Anyway, from a kind of storytelling point of view, that film itself is perhaps, and there has been a little bit of mild criticism of it as being not a big story that you can follow the beginning to end. It's quite short, but it led me to these Laurel and Hardy videos, which is pure storytelling. And with not very much to work with, very fixed cameras and fixed sets, and beautifully done. So, well, I wonder if my kids really know who Laurel and Hardy are. And of course, we probably just about grew up with them still, but I don't think they've. I hope this film does do something to give them some more longevity, because they're amazing comedy.
We didn't grow up with them. They were long gone.
Them, but they were on TV when I was a kid, and I don't think they are anymore.
I'm trying to think if I ever saw them on TV. You are older than me.
Not that much older.
10 years.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, kids won't know who they are. No. Kids these days don't know they're born.
They should do. Anyway, it's a recommendation to go and see it if you want to enjoy some performances. John C. Reilly's very good as well, of course, as Oliver Hardy. Okay, good. Well, here we are this week. We're getting into 2019. I still do that thing where I'm writing 2018 all over the place on things. I've been doing lots of spreadsheet work today and keep having to correct myself. But the year is moving on. We're making decisions. I think we talked last week about travel. So flights have been booked in the last couple of weeks for us. We're definitely confirmed to Thrillerfest. John and I will be in Thrillerfest, as will young Tom. We're going to call him Young Tom, who's a new team member for SPF. That's
a bit patronising.
I want to patronise. Well, I'm 52 and he's 13, so I want to be able.
That's more patronising.
And we're going to hope. We think we're going to get Tom out from behind the keyboard at some point to record some videos for us. And who knows? He could even make some podcast appearances. He could even make a podcast appearance, a show appearance, I should say, in New York. But we'll see. But we're also going to go to NINC. We're also going to go to 20 Books Vegas. So if you can come along to any of those events, we would be delighted to see you and tap us on the shoulder, and we'll buy you a beer and have a chat. Now, Thrillerfest was good for us for meeting some big name authors last year. It was our best shot at getting some of those big names onto the Self-Publishing Show. But we are reaching out individually now. We said this last week. It was our aim for 2019. And you've had an email back, have you not, Mark?
Yes, I have. I remembered in my previous life as a lawyer, I did some work for J.K. Rowling, in particular for her agent, or her first agent, who has subsequently he has become the agent has left and has been replaced by her new agent. So I know him a little bit. And I don't know why that didn't cross my mind. But anyway, I dropped him a line today and just to see whether we could get J.K. Rowling on the podcast. And it's probably still a long shot. She's obviously very busy. But the message has been passed. So we will have to see. That would, as I put that in our group Slack this morning, and young Tom, as I won't call him, immediately came back and said that whoever follows that podcast episode has an act to follow. And of course, you'd have to go and interview her.
Yes. Yeah, I would love to go and interview J.K. Rowling. We should say the email didn't come back from Joanne Rowling. It came back from a minion saying that your
first name terms.
Yeah. Jay, I call her. The J dog. Oh no, I won't call her that. The J girl. That doesn't mean that it was one of our minions has emailed back to say that the message has been passed on, so we'll see. And we possibly have another route to another big author in the States we're going to pursue as well and see what we can do to get some big names on. And I'm always interested. It was one of the questions I asked some of the bigger authors, such as Karen Slaughter and Lee Child in the States, as to what writing feels like when you've got millions of readers hanging off, your shirt tails or coattails, and Hollywood waiting for the next script, and whether the fun goes out of it a little bit. But they all sort of basically said that they keep their heads down and they focus on the bit that they enjoy, which is the writing stories still. So it's good to
You've never asked me that.
No, I haven't asked you that. But you have had some Hollywood news this week, have you not?
I have, yeah. The director, I can't. Again, it's very frustrating. I can't say too much about it. But the director has now been approached and has agreed. He said that he's interested, and the studio is working with his people to try and lock him down and get him into the project. And he's a very well-known director. He's been involved in one of the biggest film franchises in the world. I think I could probably say that. I won't say any more than that, but he's a well-known name. The producers are very well-known. So I'm starting almost to feel like something might happen. I'm not buying properties in Malibu quite yet, but it's not impossible that something might happen.
You could buy a bottle of Malibu.
I could probably just about stretch to that, yeah.
Well, that's very exciting. I mean, that would be amazing. And what would be great for us on the show, I think, is to follow the story through you vicariously of what happens when it gets closer to production.
Oh, yeah, no, I'd love to do an episode on it. I mean, it's been an interesting road so far from various people, very, very well-known film producers, suffering legal problems at the moment, who have been involved at one point or another, to where we are now. So, yeah, there's actually several podcasts that we could do about that. So we'll see. As soon as the ink is dry and I've got the green light that I can talk about it, then I will.
Yeah, good. Okay. We'll just mention that we're going to say hello to our new Patreon subscribers next week. So if you want to be part of that batch, hear your name read out on the Self-Publishing Show, go to patreon.com/self-publishing show, and you can support the podcast from as little as $1 an episode. We're delighted and thrilled whenever anyone does. You also get a little personal message from me now when you sign up. It's my new thing because we feel very grateful, and we do work almost every day. Little bits go into this show. So where it is, it's sort of mid-afternoon in the UK now, 8 o'clock tonight. I'm doing an interview with somebody. His name escapes me. And then I've got another interview, I think, tomorrow evening.
James Patterson.
It's not James Patterson tonight. And so it keeps us going through all those times. Now, here was an interview for today's show that I enjoyed very much because it was nice and easy. We were in Las Vegas at 20 Books in November last year. And it's with a woman with an amazing name called Kinga Genetics. Now, she's actually, I think, Kinga Genetics, or I did say it correctly.
Genetics, probably.
Yeah, last time
that's my guess.
Genetics, yes, I think that's correct. Anyway, everyone says genetics, and she has no ego about it. She says she's absolutely happy for people to say genetics, and it probably makes sense to have one pronunciation worldwide. And it does make her sound either like a Bond villain, Kinga Genetics, or somebody who works in the pharmaceutical sector. But she's not. She's from Hungary, from Budapest, and she and a couple of others founded a company called PublishDrive, which is an aggregator, so a place where an author can upload their manuscript and cover and then have the book distributed through multiple channels around the world. It's supposed to be a one-stop shop. Now, it might sound familiar to you because we've had Draft to Digital on the podcast a number of times before, and this is definitely a company moving into that space. It's a big player right from the beginning. They've got some money behind them, some investment money behind them, and a very well-organized CEO, and a very impressive CEO, I have to say. Kinga is. And I met her in Vegas actually had lunch with her last week in London, and we're going to see, I think, a bit more of her in the next year or so. So let's go back to my hotel room, which was rudely interrupted by a ridiculous light show out the window during this interview. But let's hear from Kinga, then Mark and I will have a quick chat off the back.
This is the Self-Publishing Show. There's never been a better time to be a writer.
Kinga, here we are. Why don't you start off by introducing yourself?
Okay. Hey guys, thanks for actually asking for me to be in this podcast. So my name is Kinga and I'm from PublishDrive. I'm one of the founders and the CEO there as well. And we basically built a self-publishing platform which is global. So we actually are partnering with all the big guys like Amazon, Apple, Google, but we have a lot of partners in China, in Europe, and all around the world basically. And we try to help all the authors out there to make sure that they have the smart tools, what they can use for their ebook distribution and sales and marketing, and obviously to indie publishers as well, because we can see that there are more and more who actually are becoming small publishers.
Excellent. Okay, we summed everything up, but I'm intrigued to know a lot more about it all. Kinga, so let's start with the idea. Where did this all come from? Where did it start?
Yeah, so it's a funny story actually. So I wanted to publish my master thesis, which was about how music can influence the image of a country. So it's a very much niche topic, but I published it on Amazon only at that time, and I could see that people were buying it. So my master thesis, which was very much a niche topic, and it wasn't professionally edited. The cover design wasn't that good either, but still I got sales from Brazil, Mexico, US, so all around the world.
Of your thesis?
Yeah.
I didn't realise theses had cover designers and got sold. I thought it was something you didn't hand it in to your professor.
Well, actually, it happened like that. So I published it, and then people were buying it, so I could see that there is a market for that. And we researched what is happening on the market, and I could see that there was not a good tool which actually could do global publishing. And we started out from Hungary, from Europe, and at the time there was no Amazon available actually in Hungary, and still today there is none. So
you forget that some of the world doesn't have Amazon. You get so used
Definitely.
to it. And I saw someone, Chris Ducker, who's quite a prominent guy in the sort of digital space, has been living in the Philippines, I think, and he said one of his number one things he was looking forward to coming back to Cambridgeshire is Amazon and Amazon Prime and stuff we get used to. So
yeah, definitely.
Because we're going to talk about being wide
a
little bit later, and we should not forget that there's a lot of world out there that's not necessarily just at the end of an Amazon link. But anyway, I'll let you carry on.
Yeah, definitely. So that's what we could see, that especially in that part of the world, like Google was very dominant and Apple, and we actually started out to have those partnerships with these other guys, and basically with our two co-founders, who I know from the university. They are technical people, Robert and Adam. Robert is on the data part, Adam is more on the engineering side. And we started out to work on PublishDrive because we could feel that we actually can build a platform which is truly global and which can integrate all the smart tools, what is needed to get published. Because there is so much data, there is so much information what you could get as an author, and we couldn't find any good platform what actually can provide that for the authors.
Okay, so just explain to me how it works. So an author comes along, uses PublishDrive, they upload their book or books to PublishDrive, and you're the aggregator. You then distribute the books to the various platforms. Yeah, basically
it's like that. So if you upload your book, you already have some smart tools integrated there. So we just released a few weeks ago a new tool which is supported by AI. It's a categorization tool. So if you upload your book, a robot which is called Savant, it's actually reading your book. A robot can do that.
I'm sure robots read novels. Sitting around doing nothing, wouldn't they?
And then they, based on the AI, what is built inside, they are suggesting some categories what your book might fit into it. and then you can choose which one is the best for your book. So obviously you make the decisions, because that's what we believe in, that you as an author should be able to decide on what's happening with your books. And basically you can select where you want to sell in our platform as well. So you can select and pick and choose which platforms you want to sell on through PublishDrive. So if you want to keep Amazon with your own account, you can do that, but you can switch to our platform as well. With Amazon, for instance, you can keep all of your reviews, your ratings, and everything like that. And then when it's done, we have a book review system built into the whole platform, meaning that we actually can flag content which shouldn't be published. And if we see something which can be improved in your book, we will contact you. And then, we just want to make sure that your content is in the best shape, because that's what readers want as well. And that's how you can make more sales, obviously. And we then basically, when it's already like in the green light, then your book will be published on the different platforms what you chose you want to be distributed to. And you can track everything what's happening with your book. So you can see when it was published, on which platforms. You can track back the links as well, which is important if you want to do some marketing as well. And then you can see real-time sales data in the platform. So we basically provide you with all the data what we receive from the retailers in a consolidated way as well. So you can see the big picture, which is the best-selling country, which is the best-selling platform for you, which price deals are working, so all kind of data. But you can actually filter based on whatever you want to see, whatever time period, whatever country, so you can dig into what's happening there as well.
Okay, so you're just to be clear, you upload the book to the various platforms, and therefore you provide the data, you provide a dashboard for people to look at, which presumably is a one place to look at all your sales and various...
all the platforms basically. And real time, we actually can show you the bigger guys who we actually get the real time data. But every month when your earnings reports are published, like the real earnings reports, you will actually see all the other platforms integrated into your sales dashboard too, so you're able to see everything what's happening there.
Okay, and what about advertising? If people want to run ads themselves, so some ads, like AMS for instance, they rely on you having access to your account I say that it's complicated and that is changing, but anyway, at the moment you go to your KDP bookshelf and click promote.
So we actually have the option for Amazon. It's called Amazon Advertising now, I think. I still get used to the AMS as well. It's way much easier to...
As we record this interview, I am very deep into trying to work out how the new platform works, and it is slightly different. So there will come a point in the near future where you can get through to an advertising console and promote products, even if you aren't the person who uploaded it. But we actually can do that already. So, and we even released new pricing structure in our platform, where basically the new sign-uppers, they actually can get $50 Amazon advertising coupon as well, what they can spend with us. And we basically provide back some report what's happened with those $50 and what kind of results you could get on the book. But in overall, we have marketing features, because obviously that's what we see that is one of the biggest problems in the industry, that even though if you publish your books, how can you actually get more visibility, and how can you get more readers who actually are buying your books? Obviously with the help of marketing. So we work with the different retail stores in a way that we know their marketing calendar for the year, so we know in which month what kind of special promotions they are planning. And that's why we are reaching out to our authors and saying, hey guys, there was Halloween recently, so you actually can submit your horror titles or whatever you feel that it would fit into that topic. And we pick some of the titles which should be good, in our opinion, obviously, and then we submit those titles to the retail stores as well. And 90% of the cases, they pick those titles to be featured at least for a few days. And obviously in that case, we can see that their sales are increasing. For instance, during summertime, we had one romance author. She was featured on iBooks US store
Apple Books US store. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
something else is changing, yeah. And then by the time this interview is finished, everything else will be called something different.
Yeah,
so
that's for sure.
just stick with what we know. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and she was featured during summertime in the romance section. So this is a big deal for romance writers, obviously. And she could get like 5 times more sales because of this featured position. So we were really happy that we could be part of that.
So these are relationships that you've built up with Amazon and Apple to get a little edge for the people on PublishDrive?
Yeah. And we actually have not just Amazon and Apple, but we have Google Play as well, where we actually have some extra options with Kobo, obviously, with Barnes & Noble, and with Overdrive too, with Script. So we really, and actually everything is on our website too, so you can see what kind of marketing features we have and for which store, because that's what we believed in, to provide all kind of features and even more what you could get if you go directly with the stores. Okay,
so what do you, when you think about authors, I mean, we should say we're in Vegas for 20 Books Vegas, right?
Oh yeah, don't forget about it.
In this special set that I've built for us.
It's amazing set.
Where you are beautifully lit, and no one can see me because I'm half bright and half dark, which is the opposite of when we recorded this interview before, and you had a halo.
Oh yeah,
behind you.
I looked blonde.
And I thought slightly embarrassingly, I was looking for a blonde woman.
Well,
10 minutes
I
ago.
hope it's okay that I'm not blonde, but
it's starting to sound a bit dodgy. But yeah, no, I was shocked because the light's terrible on me, but perfect on you, which is the important thing. And down below us is this absolutely enormous hotel that we're sitting in. But the point I'm getting to is that this is an exploding world. I mean, there's 700 odd authors here.
Oh yeah.
And your platform is for which sort of author? Because some people want to have control, right?
Of course.
They're happy to upload everywhere themselves and monitor their. I mean, there's a few dashboards around. There's Reader Links and Book Report, of course.
Yeah.
All these dashboards. So who are you aiming at?
So we have 2 types of authors currently. One of them is the totally aspiring author who just started out basically, and for them we have this pricing structure what everyone does in the industry. We take 10% cut after the revenue, and that works pretty well for them. And we have the other type of authors who are selling more and more, and we could see that those guys, they start to get some real burn when we take their 10% cut. So, and obviously we are a business as well, so we know that there are many companies who just come and go in the industry, and and because they don't have a business model or they don't know how to actually
You mean when things start selling and when they start to see the 10%, they suddenly resent it? They suddenly okay, because there's a kind of lack of expectation planning.
Yeah. So and for them we actually have a subscription model, which is like that they pay a flat fee. And they can get all the royalties what they could get going directly with the stores, and on top of that they can get all kind of marketing features, or what I mentioned before, what is included in going directly with the stores as well. So it's pretty important, and they can get this credit for the Amazon advertising as well. And we can see that most of our authors are coming from the States in both segments, and many of them are starting out like that they are still handling some of the stores on their own, like Amazon, for instance, and it's totally up for them. So we actually say that the control is in your hands. We are not your publisher or whatever. In our contract, it says as well that we are your distribution partner.
So you can come and go.
You can come and go, and you actually can switch between the different pricing structures too. So if you can try out the subscription one for free in the first full calendar month. So if you upload your book before the full calendar month starts, it's free, and then afterwards for a full calendar month as well, it's totally free for you. You can try it out, and if it works for you, then you will obviously see the numbers, so you can decide whether you want to stay on that. You can switch back to the royalty or revenue share model as well anytime, and you can withdraw your titles as well if you don't want to be on PublishDrive anymore because you are not happy. But thank God we don't see too many of them.
And I guess the one person this doesn't work for is somebody who's in KU.
Oh yeah, sure. So. If you are in KU, then we cannot work with you right now. We actually had many authors who were starting out working with us, went to KU for 90 days, and then they came back because they said that for them, going wide is actually working better. So it depends on what kind of authors there are out and what kind of books they have, what kind of genres they are writing, because for some of them, KU works beautifully and it's the best marketing tool for them. And for some of them, going wide is just the other option and the only option what can make them to become a full-time writer.
Yeah. So one thing I think you probably would be an advocate of for the wide reason is the reach into other parts of the world. And we talked about Hungary at the beginning. I should say that you're from Hungary yourself.
I think I said, yes.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it. I'm just saying, we should say. I'm not saying you should say. I'm saying we should say you're from Hungary.
Yeah.
You are from Hungary.
Yeah, I'm from Hungary.
So your perspective is a little bit different from somebody brought up in the United States, surrounded by easy access to all these digital platforms. You're in one of the countries in the world where it's been a little bit more difficult. And in fact, even Australia, I was in Australia a few years ago now, in 2012, and I was a bit surprised at the lack of kind of online... Oh, do you know what that means? That light. This means this Disney show is going to... Have you seen this show?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it's trippy. This huge show is about to start outside the window, and I'm hoping it's not going to be massively distracting. But you'll hear it anyway.
It's okay.
And the point I'm getting to is that you right from the beginning, this platform is about global reach, right? It's about getting to places that a lot of the traditional platforms don't get to. You mentioned China at the beginning as well.
Yeah, we actually have more Chinese partners already in the platform, and we are working on to have even more, because we can see that this is a huge market to step foot in, and it's getting, I think there are like 500 million readers in China who actually can buy, and they buy English language books. So
you only need a little percentage of that, right?
Yeah, it's like amazing, and it's a good show.
Yeah, I'll put the camera on that so people can see. It's when you're standing at the bar having a beer, you suddenly think this beer must be stronger than I thought it was. But anyway, it's Vegas, baby. So
you have to be entertained all the time, right?
Exactly. Yeah, God forbid. So China. How about India? Is India on your?
Yeah, India is in our platform as well, and we can see that in India, Google Play Books is pretty strong because there are like 80% of the smartphone users are actually Android users. Is a huge amount of people there who actually are having a device where Google Play Books is already pre-installed. So obviously it's a no-brainer that they are looking for content. And obviously in these markets, different kind of contents are selling well. So as they are emerging markets, more like a lot of like non-fiction is selling quite good there, and even like how to learn English better and these kind of reference books, they go really well.
And business guides and things like that. Business guides, go well,
yes. Yeah. But still, the traditional fiction type of books, they are still the bestsellers, but we can see that the ratio is a bit different than in other markets.
And that's a really optimistic note to sound, because we, again, at 20 books, a lot of people here and people looking around the room saying it's far too competitive, but the truth is the world is growing digitally massively. Again, I was in Africa not that long ago, and the emerging middle class in Africa who are suddenly driving BMWs, going to nice restaurants, buying thrillers to read and romance books to read, it's only going one way, the market at the moment.
Even I've read somewhere recently that in China every day there are like 2 people who become millionaires. It's like,
they've got to buy a book, haven't they?
They should.
Well, whatever book they bought, I want to read it.
Well, we don't judge on that part.
No, exactly. Okay, so you're aiming yourself at somebody who either it's convenient for them, and there's plenty of people, frankly, who balk at some of the complexities. I mean, I upload our SPF books, and it is a faff to going through that whole thing, and being able to do it once and seeing it aggregated is great. You do have competitors in this market, and of course our friends from Draft to Digital are here as well. So how do you differentiate yourself from them?
Yeah, we definitely have more markets where we are working and more stores included in the platform as well. Yeah, we have better royalty rates too, which is obviously a good thing, even in the revenue share model. But if you go with a subscription, which is like $100 per month fee, and you could get all the royalties, what you could get going directly, it's pretty good. It's pretty good deal for the artists who are selling more than $1,000 per month, basically. And then we have a lot of like smart tools integrated, including the analytics about the sales data. But we have these smart tools which help you improve on the metadata part as well. What we can see that it's working beautifully for many of the artists. We even have one person dedicated for that. She's based in London, and she was working before with Pottermore. And she basically knows everything about metadata. So if you need some help how to improve that, we actually can get you introduced to those to that person. And then our support team is awesome. So that's what we can see and hear from people, that they really like that we are there for the artists and we are supporting them, even though there are some challenges, because obviously there will be always challenges. But they like that we are partnering with them on the long term. And if there is any kind of new ideas, how we can improve on the platform, we are looking for that to receive all those feedback, because that's how we can improve and that's how we can build a better product. So
yeah, and a bit of competition's good.
Oh,
We actually came up in the lift with Mark from from D2D.
Yeah. And actually another thing, that we have marketing features integrated. So I just had a chat before with one interviewer as well, and he mentioned that having any kind of marketing features in this industry is totally a differentiator, because that's why people usually don't go with an aggregator to the different stores, besides having the 10% revenue share, what they have to give up on, that they don't have any marketing option throughout an aggregator. So they cannot have the Kindle daily and monthly deals. They don't have many like promotional deals with Kobo, for instance. We have all of these included. And on top of that, we have these featured positions as well, what we've been working on, and the Amazon advertising as well, which is something what we are exploring right now.
I'm interested in the beginning of this story. So you're, CEO of a global company that's growing in a very growing space, if you like, independent authors.
Yep.
How did this all happen? I know you said you wrote your thesis and you suddenly realised there was interest in this, but how do you turn that into a functioning company?
That was a long journey.
Not a quick answer.
No, not a quick answer.
But if you could make it quick for the...
Yeah, I'm trying my best. So basically, we started out 3.5 years ago for the London Book Fair, and then that's what the point when we launched the product and we got our first international customers. And
how many of you were there then?
We were 4 of us.
4 of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And basically, I was the only person who was like full-time. So
right.
This was still very early on.
This is your baby?
Let's say it's our baby. So everyone is contributing a lot to that.
Okay.
And then we started out working with the international customers, and we even got the the Trusted Partner nomination of Apple as well. So we are listed on their site.
So that was a big moment for you.
Of course, yeah, it was, and it still is. And we then we got invited by Google for their accelerator program as well, and that was really good, because in San Francisco we could actually experience the whole startup world as well, the tech world, and obviously we could meet all of these really important guys in the different spaces of the industry. And we learned a lot during this whole thing. And we met, even that was the point when we actually organized our first meetup in San Francisco.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool. There were many artists who just arrived, and we had only like 1 week to organize it. So it was a very random idea, but it was awesome. And then basically we had another milestone when we flipped our European company to the States. So this year we are already operating from the US company, and now we actually are 20 of us, and we are spread all around the world. So we have our team back in Budapest who are more on the engineering side and the operational side. And we have many other colleagues here in the States.
So you're a US registered company now?
Yes.
And you're privately owned, you own the shares. Yeah. So why that choice? Why register in the US? Was it tax efficient or?
Not really, because most of our clients came from the States, and we could actually see that we wanted to have the safest like legal environment for them as well, what they are used to. And when it's about copyrights, obviously the States is the best place to be. And yeah, we could see that this is the way to go, to make sure that we actually can be a long-term partnership. And even on some of the operational side, we actually could make some scalable solutions as well, regarding taxation, for instance. And another thing, what actually was really good for us, that many of our partners, like Apple, Google, and these guys, they were happy about this change as well. So we could get more features for our authors, because they could see that we are getting serious and we are actually a growing company who take themselves seriously.
And you've continued to grow.
Yes, hope so. Yeah. Especially that last month we had many new features what we released, and we could see that many authors, that was our record month actually, that many authors just joined the platform.
For new authors joining.
Yes. Yeah. New authors who actually uploaded books as well. We had many thousands books in the platform just in the last couple of weeks, and we could see that they are really exploring what's there. So many of our previous authors, they actually switched on more channels as well, and yeah, we could get a lot of requests for the subscription model too, because they are pretty much interested in that, because it's good for the authors who actually are sell more. So
yeah, and what targets do you have?
What we want to achieve? Yeah. First of all, we have one of the things what we want to do is basically help more on the marketing side for the authors, because this is really important, and then basically to help everywhere in terms of helping on the print books, on audio, then on translations as well. So this is the vision, basically to be a long-term partner for the authors and to make sure that they actually can own their copyright but still make the full out of their books and out of their stories. And we can see that in the States we have more authors joining us, but we are very much proud that we have customers coming from all around the world. So authors signed up to PublishDrive from more than 60 countries already, so it's pretty awesome, and we like that. And we have more than 40 languages in the platform too. Obviously, most of our catalog is in English, and we are happy about that too. But we even have some Chinese books, which were best-selling books as well. So it's been pretty cool to see that.
Yeah. And in terms of numbers of authors joining, is this, you must have sat down a couple of years ago and did your predictions and what you hoped for, what was realistic? I mean, has it exceeded your expectations? Are you on track? Or?
Yeah, we are on track. And even for this year, I think we are on track. And yeah, we want to make sure that we actually can grow this community. So we have plans on that part too. We actually launched an author success corner on our new website, where there is Adam, the author success coach, and all of the content what we are doing, which are free to access. We have webinars, we have a blog, we have videos about different stages and different stages of the publishing journey, because we can see that this is something what many of the authors, they don't know about that how you have to design your cover, what kind of metadata improvement you can do. So there are many things what we can cover. Yeah. And we have some pretty ambitious goals for next year in terms of how many authors we want to have in the platform and how many books we actually want to have. And hopefully with all the new features what we are releasing, it will actually happen.
And what's it like for you? Because your life must have transformed with this. It must have been a very intense period at the first 12 months trying to get things going.
Oh yeah, sure. You can imagine that, especially starting out from a small country and being a woman founder, there are a lot of challenges what you have to tackle. And Yeah, but our team is awesome, and I'm really happy that we actually could grow our team, not just in numbers, but geographically as well. And our team is so diverse, from different countries with different backgrounds and different cultures, and I really like that. And that's in our DNA. So being global means not just being geographically global, but we actually have inclusivity, and both in our team, both in our company structure, and both in our author base. And that's what we believe in, that it should be like that in the future too.
Yeah, well, it's great, Kinga, and what a great inspiration also to young girls. You know, I think of my daughter who's 14, 15. I'd love her to see you.
Yeah,
I would love to. In your 20s. I'm guessing in your 20s.
It would be great to actually meet her. And this is one of the things what I am actually really passionate about, to actually empower young girls and women to start a career, either in tech or just in any other field or any other entrepreneurial journey, because that's what the world needs. That's what I can see, that women they have a lot of great ideas. They are so passionate, and sometimes they just need another kick to make sure that they can start out, but they are brilliant. And I think in the future, we will see more women who actually can succeed in many other fields.
Yeah, I hope so. It is happening, and a kick or an inspiration. See someone like yourself, who good example, great example. Good. Well, it's an exciting thing. I mean, your drive to get more readers, more authors. Where do you principally draw them from? Do you advertise yourself? I mean, obviously you do the circuits of conferences and podcasts and so on, but is there a strategy in place for you?
Yeah, sure, there is a strategy. So in overall, what we can see, that obviously going to these offline conferences is really good to build the brand itself, but we actually advertise ourselves on social media too. We partner up with some of the writer organizations too, to make sure that we actually can partner with them in many other fields or even conferences. And yeah, we do a lot of content, so we want to make sure that there is a lot of freely available content in webinars or in blog posts for our potential authors who can benefit from PublishDrive, either now or in the future at some point. So we know that the authors who are still in the writing process, right now we cannot help that much, but we are there if they have questions, because we had many authors who went through all these processes already. And even in our team, we have many writers too, so we actually know what's happening, and we can help them to get through the writer's block if they have any, or any kind of author's burnout too, because these are the challenges what everyone is facing with. And yeah, we are there to make sure that they can tackle that and they can go through all these kind of challenges.
Great. Well, you better tell people where they can find you.
Yes. We have a website.
Yes? You've got a website.
Oh yeah, sure. It's called PublishDrive.com.
Good name. Yeah.
Yeah, we have actually a Facebook group too. It's called Write More, Worry Less, Self-Publishing with PublishDrive. And we have a Twitter page, and I'm personally active on Instagram, but the company is active on Instagram as well. And I can be reached out to anytime too, so I'm happy to chat with anyone who has questions, because that's how I learn a lot too. And today, I'm so happy to be here at the 20 Books 50K conference as well, because I could chat to so many authors who are really great in marketing, and they already sell like 100,000 of copies of their books, and they are pretty curious about the subscription model too, because this is something good for them, and especially about the going wide aspect. This is something what they feel they have to do, because they want to take the next step in their writing and publishing career. Yeah.
So just my final question is just explain how the pricing models work.
Sure. Basically, we have two models. One of them is the revenue share, the 10% cut.
So that's 10% of the royalty. So you get your 70% from Amazon, and you take 10% of that.
Yes, yeah. And then the other one is the subscription pricing, which is basically you pay $100 per month, which is, in my mind, it's like 5 pizzas price. Yeah. That's what I always...
2 beers here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And you get all the royalties, what you would get going directly with the stores and all the marketing features. And if you sign up now, you can get a free trial month, a full calendar month, and a $50 Amazon coupon as well for advertising.
You can go backwards and forwards
Sure.
through the pricing model. So it's a fairly simple mathematical equation, depending on how many books you sell, as to whether it's going to be the subscription model.
Yeah, we even actually show a calculator for you.
So you can see.
Yeah. And we usually say that if you sell more than $1,000 per month, then the subscription is worth for you better.
So it's effectively a cap on the fee you're ever going to pay.
Yeah.
PublishDrive.
Basically, you can...
Which also caps your revenue, of course.
Yeah, it caps, but it's okay.
You've got a spreadsheet and you've done the projections.
Yeah,
I'm not pointing this out to you for the first time.
Yeah, we have venture capitals in our company, so we had to do our math.
Yes. Okay, that's interesting. So you've brought me to one final question. So my third final question is the funding at the beginning. So you did get VC money in.
Yes, so we did get money. First of all, we got money from an investor back in Europe. Then we got some money from Google. Then we got an investment from partly US and European-based VC venture capital last December. And since then we actually are growing quite fast. So that's what we are happy that we could actually finally close last year, because this way we could grow much faster in terms of the product and in terms of the business as well.
You could finally close
the deal.
Oh, close the deal. Okay, yeah. So they've bought a piece of it.
Yeah. Basically, it's investors.
Yes, like Dragon's Den.
Yeah, we don't do ICOs where you don't have to give up on your equity.
No. It's a shame they should invent that. Yeah. Good. Okay. Look, Kinga, I've put you through the mill twice because we did this interview online. Now you've done it in my Las Vegas studio. So
it's amazing.
Yeah.
You even got some show for me.
It was all put on for you.
It was only for me. I know.
Well, we'll go and have a beer now, and we can watch it close up. Thank you so much indeed, and we'll watch PublishDrive. Obviously, it's going nowhere but up at the moment, so it's a good news story.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting to this show.
This is the Self-Publishing Show. There's never been a better time to be a writer.
So there is Kinga Genetics speaking to me in Vegas last year. The company is just going through its next funding round at the moment. And there's no doubt, it feels to me, Mark, this is a company with an upward trajectory at the moment. Always difficult to second guess and predict where things are going to end up. But it sort of feels also like a part of the maturity of the indie industry, that bigger, well-organized companies are coming along.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly true that we've been going now for a few years, and a few people have come to the party. So Draft Digital, obviously the obvious analog for PublishDrive, have been around for, I'm going to say 5 years. It might even be longer than that now. So that they've been around for a long time, and it's good that we've got Smashwords as well. I'm not a big fan of Smashwords for a number of reasons, but I do respect what they've done. Smashwords and Mark Coker have been around for a very long time, so real pioneers in that sense. And PublishDrive coming along, offering authors another option, another way to get their books into stores that might otherwise be beyond them, and offering interesting deals as you mentioned. So it's good. I mean, more competition is better than less, obviously.
Yeah, so the pricing model, which is a surprise. So I think Drafted Digital probably are 10% of the royalty. So you get paid your 70% by Amazon or whoever the end retailer is, and they'll take 10% of that in return for organizing all of those placements for you. Now, PublishDrive do the same thing, but they have a cap. So you can subscribe for $100 a month, and then that is it. You pay those $1,200 a year and you pay no more. Now, for small authors, it makes sense to be on 10%. But once you're earning, in fact, I did say to Kinga, I thought this only the other day, I said to her, have you worked out at what point it makes sense to be subscribed? And she said, yes, we've done the calculation. It's $1,200 a year income. And I'm thinking, yes, that does make sense. Of course, once you're earning $1,200 a year, above that, it's capped. So for you, Mark, if you wanted to use an aggregator, that would make a significant difference in your casting around for where you're going to go. If you're earning $100,000 a month and your royalty for that particular aspect is capped at $100, you can see why it was quite controversial, even within her company, I think, when they brought that in. And I've spoken to a couple of other people in the industry who've said to me, they've raised eyebrows, let's put it that way, with this pricing strategy. But for the big players, it seems like it's quite, I guess, a commercially aggressive move, we'd call it.
Yeah, and it's they've got to be offering something. They're a newcomer taking on two established companies. They have to try and differentiate themselves in some way, and this is a pretty good way to do it. In the same way that I had drinks with someone from Apple last year, and one of the things I suggested was if they wanted to really compete with Amazon, a really great way to do that would be to pay more less as their commission. So give authors 80% rather than 70%. And you might well see authors thinking, well, that makes the KU thing slightly less attractive if I can get more money from saving money that I'm giving to the store. So, it's a good, sensible strategy to differentiate themselves. Whether it's sustainable long term, hard to say, but it's, I think I applaud them for doing something a little bit different.
Yeah, well, it's another good thing about the whole indie world. You've got tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of authors now on the planet. That's a lot of individual customers who can exert a lot of commercial pressure and power. And the old days of there being just 5 companies with a very small selection of authors who got selected, I guess the commercial pressures just weren't quite the same as they are today.
No, definitely not. There's lots of different ways to get your books out there these days. So, I'm all for more people coming into the market.
Good. Okay, well, Kinga and the PublishDrive team will be at the London Book Fair in April. So if you're there, you can come and meet Kinga. We'll sit down, I think, for a few minutes, Mark, and have a look at the platform. And you don't use, you have used Draft Digital in the past. You haven't used PublishDrive, and I'll be interested to know what you think of the dashboard and so on, as somebody who uses these things in anger. So we'll have a look at that. Good. Excellent. Well, that's it for this week. It's been a pleasure, as always, talking to the bearded wonder.
Yeah, it's very bearded at the moment. It needs to have needs to go to the beard trimming shop to have a little bit of a trim. But,
didn't you get a beard trimmer for Christmas?
Yeah, Mr. Dyer's not available today, so I
Young Tom will do it.
Young Tom, God, poor young Tom.
We haven't told young Tom the full extent of his duties within SPF yet. So
no, he doesn't know quite what he signed up for.
No, he doesn't. Good. Okay, that's it. You can get full show notes, of course, at selfpublishingshow.com. And don't forget, you can support us on patreon.com/selfpublishingshow. We would love you to be here this time next week. In the meantime, have a great week writing and selling. We'll speak to you in 7 days. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Get show notes, the podcast archive, and free resources to boost your writing career at selfpublishingshow.com. Join our thriving Facebook group at selfpublishingshow.com/Facebook. Support the show at patreon.com/selfpublishingshow. And join us next week for more help and inspiration so that you can make your mark as a successful indie author. Publishing is changing, so get your words into the world and join the revolution with the Self-Publishing Show.